All right, folks, welcome back to the greatest show on all of your laptops, televisions, or wherever you consume your wonderful content. It is Vino, Vital, Vici. I'm really excited to be back here. Really excited to have everybody with me. You guys know the other two boys on this show, the big dogs. We got Stephen Bailey. Please say hello, my man.
What's up?
And then we got my man Shota Ike. How you guys doing today?
What's
doing
good,
awesome,
everybody?
man.
Good. Steve, what you been up to, brother?
Man, this is the season of nonstop private events. So
There we go.
We've been nonstop Christmas parties. We just did a weekend in Florence, Alabama for a family rodeo themed birthday party. It was all weekend long. I had a dozen strong on my team. So we've been doing crazy amount of events. Sometimes 4 events in one day. So it's been wild. So
hold on, you said Florence. For Florence. A second, I was like, Florence. I've been there before, but then you said Florence, Alabama. I was like, hell no, I ain't been there.
Sorry, yep. And I almost just flew like last minute to West Palm Beach for a private event, and so they're just coming in nonstop. So it's this way all the way until the New Year's.
Folks, this is a busy time for him because he is a chef extraordinaire. Dude makes anything and everything and makes it beautifully, makes it well right there in Nashville. So we're happy to have you, brother. And then Shota, tell me, what's shaking? What's shaking out west?
All good out here, man. Watching football first and foremost in that heavy, with the Rams and all that. But I'm rocking the Seahawks hat for you. There you go. In the music world, we've been very, very busy to close out the end of the year. I work for 411 Music Group. We're a publisher and music specialist in licensing and original score. Yep. Right now, we're finishing up some independent movies. I'm excited to announce the title, Just Can't Do It Quite Yet. On the TV side, working on a couple of shows for Bravo, including the new season of Real Housewives of Rhode Island, which is upcoming, and we're excited about that.
Okay.
And I know, yes. And on the sports side, we've been very, very busy. We're working with the Oklahoma City Thunder, which we're very, very proud of. The second year of our collaborations. Teams. Yes.
The defending champs.
Absolutely. Yeah. And all those guys, they're killing it, and a great family of people and the team out there with the Thunder. And we're doing all their music for in-house arena stuff, and also scored one of their theme songs that they used last year in all their videos, and helping with marketing and all that good stuff. So
if I can make it to Oklahoma City for a game, I'm going to hear some of you guys' stuff in there.
There you go. Yes, sir.
Dude, that is awesome. Proud of you, man. You're always kicking ass.
Thank you, man.
It's been boring for me. No, I'm joking. It's the Buckeyes are 11-1, so it's pretty cool. As you guys know, I cover the Buckeyes in Columbus, Ohio, when I'm not in Austin, Texas, and it has been amazing to go back and forth every week covering their journey this season. Also defending champs, just like OKC. And as you guys saw this past weekend, the Buckeyes hit their first little bump in the road. A Big Ten championship loss to Indiana. 3-point loss, close game. We missed a field goal that would have tied it. So that was crazy. And I know everybody's all pissed off, but I promise you folks, listen here, listen close. This is exactly what Ohio State needed to get going. They're about to go on a tear just like last year. And they got huge games coming up, but it's been a lot of fun, guys. You guys ready to rock and roll?
Let's go.
Okay. So I'm very, very excited about this guest. I'm excited about every guest because I love what we do. This is an amazing show. But I'm specifically excited about this guest because he is from my home state. I don't disrespect anybody from my home state, man. You got, and let me tell you something right now. For those who are familiar with Ohio, you don't disrespect anybody from Youngstown, Ohio. I promise you that. You leave Y-Town alone, okay? It gets crazy out there. This guy's a Y-Town legend, man. There's a bunch I want to talk about, but I don't want to tell you everything about him because I like to hear it from the guest himself. But just so you know, he comes from the world of boxing, which we all know about Youngstown is they breed tough SOBs. They got some tough bastards up there that'll kick your ass. He was one of the best to ever do it. A champion at 20 years old. This is like Mike Tyson type stuff. This is stuff that no one's ever seen before. I can't wait to ask him what that felt like. But without further ado, I want to just bring in the man with a nickname that everyone loves, Ray Boom Boom Mancini. What's going on, brother?
Oh, Jay, that's great, man. Honest to God. With that introduction, I just want to say thank you and good night.
Nah, you ain't going anywhere.
You're on the hook.
Right. It's awesome having you. And, every week we have a wine sponsor.
Yeah.
And this is really cool because this is your wine.
Yes.
This is the Southpaw wine. So I'm going to open this up. I would love for you to tell us about it.
This is easy drinking, nothing sophisticated. It's my blend, but it's 100% Napa grapes.
All right.
It's a 60-30-10 blend, 60% Barbera, which is the Italian Cab Sav.
Okay.
30% Petit Syrah, but 10% Charbono. And why that gives it a little cachet is because Charbono's only grown on 100 acres in Savoy region of France.
Okay.
They grew now only on a certain amount of acreage in Napa.
Okay.
So it kind of levels it off. It's not a sweet, doesn't make it sweet, not a sweet wine. It's just easy drinking.
I love
it's just, I'm very proud of it. Nice finish. Not a sophisticated wine, like I said, but everyone who drinks it seems to love it. And I'm very proud of it.
I mean, I think this is a great, the everyday drinking wine.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
That's what's awesome about this. The Knockout Red Blend,
Knockout Red Blend. Yeah, we did a blend. And the name Southpaw comes from, I am a Southpaw, but it's not. My last name, Mancino, in Italian means left-handed.
Okay.
So that's exactly why. So it
sense.
means left-handed. So anyhow.
And I as a private chef, I'm not offended by the screw top.
No, beautiful.
I am offended that you're thinking bottles will last 2, 3, 4 days though.
You should drink a
Because I don't even. I thought you were about to say 2, 3, 4 hours.
Right. Well, in my household, that's
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say.
But a lot of people like to take a glass, but it just gives it. Yeah,
It looks great. I can already smell it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's got some nice aroma of berries and that it's just easy. Like I said, I'm very proud of it. I drink it every day, and it does very well in my hometown of Youngstown.
Ray, is your heritage Italian?
Yes, my family's from Sicily, Village di Bagheria, Provincia Palermo, Sicily. But my mother's Irish.
Okay.
So it makes me what? A mean drunk.
Boys,
anyhow.
salute.
Salud.
Gentlemen.
Il bovo di lupo.
Oh yeah, that's done in 2-hour wine right
Delicious.
there. Yes,
That's beautiful.
well, we appreciate you sponsoring the wine today.
No, thank
Ray,
you.
this is great.
Because I'm very proud of it. People ask often, and now we have it in Northeast Ohio, all of Northeast Ohio, but people also can go to my website,
Okay,
which is boomboommancini.com.
there we go.
Not Ray Boom, just Boom Boom. Somebody stole Ray Boom Boom Mancini, but he wasn't that smart. He didn't steal Boom Boom Man. So
Got him.
he wanted me to
Ray,
pay
we gotta
for
find
it.
that
I
guy.
said,
We gotta
forget
find that
about it,
guy.
man.
We'll take
I
care of
pay
it.
for my own name? Hell no.
Ray, we got to find that guy and we got to break his
You're
legs.
in line, boy.
I know.
think,
What's he doing
I think
with
he's somewhere
that?
over there in Vietnam or something. I think they said he's in New Orleans. But
Shota, we know about those guys. we know about those guys.
so if you go to boomboommancini.com, it has my lifestyle company because I might as well talk about it now. I have a lifestyle company. I have a bourbon company. If you're a bourbon, you like bourbon, it's a 2-time double gold. Not once, dose.
Wow.
2-time
What?
double gold at the World Spirit Competition.
San Francisco World Spirit.
Absolutely.
Wow.
2020 and 2024.
Okay.
You get a certificate in the mail amongst the finest products in the world. But the problem is we haven't been able to get outside of Northeast Ohio.
Okay.
So again, you go on the website.
Gold at the Spirit Awards, that's instantly
Twice.
that's like your everyday bourbons that are like your $35, a lot of people enjoy. They hit gold and they're instantly out $100 bottle.
Yeah, well,
And you can't
find
right.
them.
Now, but as you know, places like Ohio, they set the price.
Oh.
So they said, so this is $60, $59.95. But
Okay.
but that's fine. That's fine. They had it at $49.95 for a long time. And I go, yo, man, we just won another double gold. Can't you you got to bump it? You got to give it So
boom,
yeah.
boom. Well, all we got to do is we just got to start bringing cases across the state line.
hey, I get a sent to you.
It's
I'll get
120
it
here in
sent to you.
Nashville.
And I had a friend of mine here in Nashville who said, how can I get it? She said, can I get it here for my clients? I said, look, I'll get it to you one way or another.
So now tell us about the bourbon. Then.
Well, first of all, I'm a teetotaler. I'm a wine guy.
Okay.
But when I go out and I don't, I have a drink. I'm not a guy with mixed drinks much. I'm, if I do occasionally, I'll do a vodka, cranberry. It's just easy. But I also have a cigar company. So here we go.
Wow.
Here we go.
Here we go.
So when I'm at night, and I've had my cigar company since 1991. That's I've had that longer. But when I'm at night watching TV, sipping a bourbon, I'm smoking a cigar. You want to sip bourbon, man. You don't want to be sipping wine or a bit mixed drink. So bourbon, I'm bourbon neat, on the rocks, whatever your choice is. And it's easy, man. That's it. But my bourbon is smooth, man. It can knock you on your ass, but it is smooth, man. It can knock you out, but it's great. And that's why I'm proud that I got 2-time double gold. I'm very proud of that. And so it's very smooth.
Awesome,
it's easy. It's very easy. The only thing I'd like to get people say, is there anything else you'd like to get into? I'd like to get into coffee or chocolate. You know what I mean? A good chocolate, dark chocolate, and a good coffee. I'd like to get into that, but there's so many now, that. But I like to venture into that. Yeah,
no, and I could even see the whole like fighting for good causes.
Oh, sure.
A fair trade chocolate that's fighting for kids and
of course
people
that's
being
good.
out.
You give money to the.
I love it.
Well, look, I have my foundation.
Yeah.
The Ray Boom Mancini Foundation, but that's what we do. We last year I had a fight night for veterans.
Okay.
My second fight night for veterans, and I think that the veterans are the forgotten sector of society.
Yes,
and we did it.
Agreed.
And we brought a lot of attention to them, and we were able to give them a nice check after the fact. And I brought in 5 champions. I brought in Larry Holmes, Jerry Cooney, Michael Spinks, Buster Douglas.
You brought in Buster. I know Buster.
But James is my guy. I love James.
Man, great guy.
James is my guy. Well, and this year we're doing it again, January 23rd. So same guys I'm bringing in. Of course, Larry, Jerry, Michael, Buster, my local Youngstown boy, Kelly Pavlik. But I'm also bringing in Mickey Ward.
Kelly Pavlik, hell of a fighter.
Yes, he is. And Paulie Malignaggi. And I think I'm going to bring in Antonio Tarver.
Whoa.
So
where does all this happen?
In Youngstown, Ohio. At the Mr. Anthony's is a hall, which for catering hall, and it's just last year we did it. It was a very big success. So now people get calls from California, Chicago. Hey, can we come in for this event? I want to be able to meet the fighters. I said, oh, you come in. That's a done deal. You meet these guys because we do a meet and greet beforehand. Okay. So I'm very proud of that. So
hey Ray.
Yes, sir.
When Stephen just asked you where does all this happen, and then you said Youngstown, did you see his face? He doesn't know. Youngstown's like one of the small centers of the universe,
You're
man.
Right. Hey, look, here's what I tell people. Youngstown is probably the biggest little city. They say Reno is. I say Youngstown is. Biggest little city in the world.
Well, Ray, thanks so much for joining us. We love to start every episode asking our guest with the Vino Vinyl Vici Pop Quiz.
Sure,
now, that includes what's your favorite wine, what's your favorite album, and what's your favorite sports moment. So are you ready, champ?
Yes. I'm ready.
Amazing. All right, let's do it. Question number 1, and this might be an easy one, but let's tee it up. What's your favorite wine and why?
I think I know what he's going to say.
I'm going to tell you what. No, besides mine, yeah, of course. But, I'm about, look, one thing I've learned, and I learned from, when I was in California, I learned from one of the foremost sommeliers in the world, Piero Salvaggio. He had a restaurant, Valentino's in Santa Monica. He was a foremost sommelier around the world. And I used to sit and talk to him, pick his brain. And, a good wine doesn't need to be more than a $25, $30 bottle. Really don't. So when you get these $150, $150, $250, I mean, come on. I great name, but what makes them different? Nothing. The name. It's the name, right?
Yeah.
In the marketing. It's almost like Starbucks, the same cup of coffee, but it's a different marketing. Right. So for me, there's the best bang for the buck is Freak Show by Michael David.
Okay. Yeah.
Freak Show. I love the
I
best
like the name.
Oh yeah, Freak Show. It's a great a great
the
wine.
labels circusy
yeah,
looking.
The circus label and everything, right.
What's
but there's
the
another one. Pardon me?
What's the blend on that?
No. It's a cab or blend. He does the red blend. Okay. He does cab or he does Petite Sirah. The Petite Sirah is spectacular. If you like easy drinking wine. Nice. But he does it.
Ray, what's your favorite album? That's the second question there.
Well, you know what? Talking about, I have a few. My brother and me were 5 years apart. So my brother was listening to Jimmy when Jimmy was Jimmy.
Yeah.
And All Along the Watchtower is one of my favorite albums of all time, And I love Jimmy, but I also love, Allman Brothers' Greatest Hits. I tell you what, my favorite album of all time, besides, of course, Jimmy, as I just said, Jimi Hendrix, but Bob Seger's Stranger in Town. Bob Seger's Strange Night.
Okay.
That was one, because that was third when I was growing up, when I was in high school, Bob. That was it. And that, I tell people, I fell in and out of love with someone, with Bob Dylan's, Bob Seger's album. You know, you find a girlfriend because of a certain song. You break up with a girlfriend over a certain song. You know, so that got me through high school. That one, yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Now you were telling right before we started recording, you were telling me about the text you got from Greg Allman.
Yeah, I was very fortunate to meet Greg Allman. I met him through local DJ in Youngstown. We went to a concert up in Cleveland at the Hard Rock Casino at the time, and Greg was playing, and so backstage it was a meet. Okay. So we went back there, and what I did not know is Greg was a big fight fan, man. So when they introduced me, he said, "Oh man, Boom Boom, man, pleasure to meet you." I said, "Oh man, I'm a big fan of yours." I said, "My brother had all the albums." I said, "My brother had all that," and I told him, I said, "My brother, man, you know, you, Skinnerd, James Gang." I said, "Man, I love all that Southern fried rock." He said, "Man, we ain't chicken. We just rock." And I started laughing. He said, I said, but you and Skinner. He said, "Yeah, but don't forget, man, we were the first," which they were. They came out 8 months before Skinner's first album. But I loved him. And we stayed in touch, and I kept to Texas. And then I went and saw him again in Pittsburgh. And then last time I saw him, gave him a hug goodbye. And I didn't know he had kids. He kept that very private. And 6 months later, he passed. I mean, I was like heartbroken. I was heartbroken, yeah. And
that's hard.
Yeah.
That's really hard.
Yeah.
Those are good albums, though.
And
those are perfect.
Yeah. Now people ask me, and this what so I was asked earlier. They said, "Hey, didn't you name Van Halen album Born Lawful Carnal Knowledge?" I said, "Yeah."
Hold on. You named a Van Halen album?
Oh yeah, I named that album. Sammy Hagar. If you go out there, Sammy Hagar talks about it and all the all his interviews. Back then, or even then recently, talk about he was on a show, the Basement Tapes or something. He was talking about who named the album. He said Ray Mancini, and how it come about. This is how it come about. I met Sammy when I moved to LA in '85. We were doing one of them tours with all the radio stations. Carlos and Charlie's up on Sunset. Doing, and you do the car wash with all the different radio stations, right? And so I met Sammy there. We became friends, and man, he was a big fight fan. And obviously, I didn't know his father was as a fighter growing up, and when he was growing up in California, because Sammy's from Southern California, but down closer to San Diego. Anyhow, we became friends, exchanged number. He invited me to his home in Malibu. So, I loved Van Halen. When I was high school, that album came out when I was a junior or sophomore in high school, Running with the Devil, right? And then they come out later. So I used to love Van Halen. But when they got Sammy, that gave me an edge, man. They gave me an edge that they hadn't had with David Lee Roth. I don't care what anybody says. Because I knew Sammy when he was with Montrose, and then he went on his own. So now it was Van Halen. So anyway, he invites me. I was, we're talking. I told him we Mutual Admiration Society. We're walking on the beach, true story, during the time of all the censorship. And he says, "Man, I could talk. Can I say?
You can say whatever you want.
Thank you.
Boom, boom.
Right, okay.
This is your show.
No.
Yeah, baby.
If you look, I was saying, I'm one of those guys. If you're going to tell the story, tell it right.
Tell the story, baby.
Hey, cut it loose.
There
you go.
So
drink some Southpaw. Cut it loose, baby.
Let's hear it.
So Sammy said, we're walking on the beach. He goes, "Man, next album come." I said, "When's your next album come out?" He goes, "Well, we owe Warner Brothers one more." He says, "But man, I'm tired of all the censorship." Because we got it coming out. He says, and I said, "Well, it's going to be coming out, soon in the next couple of months." I said, "Well, what's going to be named?" He goes, "Well, that's the problem." He said, "We ain't got a name." I said, I want to name it Fuck. I just want to make it fuck censorship, fuck everything.
Yeah.
Fuck. And he goes, "But our label, man, and they're going, they ain't gonna have any of it." They're saying. I said, "Well, they wouldn't have a problem if they knew what it meant." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "The word is an acronym. It don't mean nothing. There's no." He said, "What?" I said, "My mother was an English major. So back in the day when I was there, and she heard me saying that word a few times, she said to me once, look, if you're going to say the word, you better know what it means." Mom, what are you talking about? And it's an old English rule. Back in old English rule, they used to have, when men would come up with charges that would have sex with young girls, they bring them up and they put for unlawful carnal knowledge.
Oh.
Damn,
And then finally, they had it so many times, it was too long to write. They just put F period, U period, C period, K period. But then when the king's men were getting jammed up for the same charges, the king did what most kings do. We just do the okie doke, and we changed it. Fornication, kept the same initials, but it said fornication under consent from the king. So they had the same.
Way.
That's true story. So the word itself has no meaning. It's the connotation behind it, right? So the word don't mean nothing.
I just learned
Sammy
something new, brother.
Yeah.
You just taught me something. I love this kind of stuff.
So Sammy says, that's true. I said, yeah, that's true. He goes, I'm going to tell him. And that's why
they named it that.
So I got a platinum album out of it.
There we go.
In my home, I got a platinum album. But yeah, so I'm very proud of that. Yeah.
That's super
story.
cool. Very cool.
So I have more relationships, I think, connections to the music when I do the boxing world. I don't know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Ray, you're a real music guy. Did you listen to any particular songs or albums pre-fight, post-fight? How did you use music?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, it's funny you say that because, sure, when I was fighting, I was big into the funk. I was big into it, right?
George Clinton?
I was like, Atomic Dog. Forget about it, man. Oh, my God.
You was barking?
But you know, it was all the Daz Band, the Gappers, the Gap Band.
Yeah, Gap Band.
Daz
Hell yeah.
Band.
Wow.
All the funk groups. You know, and so I used to listen to them. Yeah.
Was there a specific song you listened to, though, going into the fights? Or you kind of mixed it up?
No. There was one fight. Now, this is a true story, too. My sister heard this song the day of my pro debut on October 18th, 1979. She was driving, because everyone's what's going to be the song while walking in the ring? And everybody said, well, everyone's playing a Rocky theme. Man, I don't want to do that. But we didn't know. She's driving the day of the fight, and she hears the song on the radio. She goes, that's it. She runs to the local record store, buys the album. It was Pat Travers' band. Boom, boom, Out Go the Lights. Which was a remake of an old blues song. Boom, boom, Out Go the Lights. Which I think, I'm trying to think. I know the guy who actually did the original, but Boom, boom, Out Go the Lights. So that became my theme song, and the way they made it, contemporize it as a rock song.
Okay.
And then they would go boom, boom, and then the crowd would go, out go the lights.
Oh my God, it's perfect.
Yeah, it was perfect. Exactly. You couldn't get no perfect.
Yeah.
And everyone thought they wrote it for me. I said, no, man, no. That was,
just good timing.
That's awesome.
What about, I mean, you have so many to pick from, but if you had to, do you have one favorite sports moment in such a successful and historic career?
You know, people always say, what was your greatest fight, or what was the greatest memory? I said, winning the world title. What else? I mean, there ain't nothing better. But I tell you, my three greatest moments, I think, in the ring, winning the world title, obviously. My first title defense, back in Youngstown, Ohio, July 24th, 1982. And why it's significant is because we saw Warren Harding High School, which was the home of the Browner brothers, played at Warren Harding, where
my dog Maurice Claret played. Yeah.
And they, Harding High School, over 20,000 people came out. The reason why it's significant is we were at the highest unemployment, with 28% unemployment in our city. The people were so depressed at that time. We were at the height of the depression of the steel mill shutting down. So Bob Arum, true story. Bob Arum, so I brought it to Youngstown for him, which I appreciated. But he set the prices like $200 ringside, $50 general, $100 reserved, and $50 general admission. I said, Bob, you can't do that. He said, what do you mean? Okay, so you can't do that. People.
Those were high prices for that time, right?
Yeah. He said, what do you want me? I said, you got to cut everything in half. $100 ringside, $50 reserve, $10 general admission. I can't make no money that way. Bob. I said, Bob, you'll make it up on volume. They'll come. Cut to all week. Rain, torrential rain Saturday. He had me sign an addendum to my contract. He said, whatever money he was supposed to make, whatever he made less, I had to come out of my contract.
Oh, wow.
What?
I said, well, and I'm thinking, oh, God, please, no.
Yeah.
Saturday morning, sunshine, blue skies.
There we go.
Thank you, God. Thank you, God. So it was a glorious day, beautiful. 20,000 people came out, showed up, showed out, and it stopped me. One of the greatest days of my life. And to this day, people always tell me that was one of the best days they remembered. And again, I think because of the time it was, but what it meant to the city, but what it meant for me, man. It was one of the greatest days.
That's got to be your favorite sports moment then.
And winning the title one, that's number 2. And number 3 is fighting my 3rd title defense at Madison Square Garden, September 15th, 1983. Because for every little leaguer, you dream of playing at Yankee Stadium, right?
Yes.
For every
That's
fighter,
Mecca.
you dream of fighting at the Garden, headlining the Garden. And I was able to do that. And when I fought the South American champion, Orlando Romero, and I knocked him out in the 9th round, and it was great. There was about, the seats 20, but we had about 14 plus almost 15,000 people there. So it was great.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Anyway.
So Ray, I got a crap ton of boxing questions, and we won't have time for me to ask you all the things I want to ask you because I'm a huge boxing fan. So let's just start with, we got some background on you in boxing. Some of your favorite fighters over the years, some guys that you really appreciated their style, their game. Who you got?
Well, you got to understand, I'm a boxing historian.
Yes.
So I'm going back to the 20s and 30s and contemporary. So I would say, other than my father, my 5 greatest fighters were Tony Canzoneri. He was from the 20s and 30s.
Okay.
First 3 division champion.
Okay.
He was 3 times in 3 different weight classes. My father used to talk about him. My father loved him. That was his favorite fighter. He got to know him, and he used to tell me all the stories. Tony Canzoneri. 2, Henry Armstrong. Henry Armstrong was the only guy who won 3 world titles within 1 year. All the major titles. He won the featherweight title, went up to welterweight, won the welterweight title, came down and won the lightweight title, and won all within 1 year. But yet he went up and fought for the middleweight title, and they called it a draw. He would have 4 major titles in 1 year. Never can be done again because now, but at that time, my father was good friends with him. He used to talk to me. Again, I used to read about him. I used to read about these guys, and so Henry Armstrong. So Tony Canzoneri, Henry Armstrong, Rocky Marciano.
Oh, yeah.
Carmen Basilio, and Roberto Duran. And Roberto was because he's more of a contemporary. He was closer to me. He was the guy I watched when I was growing up, being on ABC Wild World Sport, and then I got to be good friends with him. We were contemporary. It was at the end of his career. He was in the last half of his career, but I got to be friends with him, and I love Roberto. And man, so those guys I followed. The guys I follow now, I mean, those are my heroes, right? The guys I follow now, well, I mean, Manny, loved watching Manny fight.
Yeah.
He recently retired. But for me, the best fighter in the world today, pound for pound, is Naoya Inoue from Japan.
The monster.
That's right.
Monster.
I thought you were going to say Bud Crawford.
Well, no, Bud is a special fighter. Don't get me wrong. He's a special fighter. But Inoue's not going to beat dudes out. He's not going to cast out left or right. Bud is a counterpuncher. His IQ's off the charts.
Yeah.
Bud's one of the few guys that could have fought any, you know what says about too many guys? He could have fought in any generation.
I agree.
He could have fought with Ray. He could have fought in the same generation as Ray, Tommy, Duran, and Benitez, which to me, that's the 4 kings. Marvin's a middleweight, but Marvin was my guy. I love Marvin. I'll tell you a story about Marvin in a minute. But those are my guys. But Bud could fight with all of them. I'm not saying he'd win, but I'm saying he could have competed against all those guys. He'd have been a headache for anybody at any time. But he's a counterpuncher, and he's waiting for you, and he's going to make you make a mistake. Inoue, he comes at you, man. He attacks, and he breaks you down. He went from 106 to 130 now. And won a division, every one. And he's just not beating guys. He's knocking them dead.
Yeah.
So Inoue's my guy.
Let me tell you a little bit about stem cells, folks. Okay, back pain, hair loss, can't get that thing up, no problem. I've got an answer for you. And let me tell you, for over a decade, R3 Stem Cell has been offering regenerative stem cell and exosome therapies that harness the body's regenerative capabilities to bring patients hope.
Hope that surgery can be avoided and tissue injury can be repaired. So you can do things like play with your kids again, go hiking, swimming, ride a bike, and most importantly, be pain-free. That would be awesome. Existing pain management therapies have been great for suppressing pain by masking discomfort, but they use things like medication, cortisone, opiates, and things like Advil, ibuprofen, the Tylenol, that kind of stuff not good when you're trying to live a healthy life. These treatments work well for relief, but they don't actually fix the problem.
We've all been through that. R3's procedures help repair, regenerate, and restore damaged tissue rather than simply mask or suppress symptoms like most traditional medical therapies. Their therapies include over 20 customized protocols which are catered to each individual's particular needs. You can check out all available options at r3stemcell.com. And they are the largest provider of regenerative therapies with over 80 centers in 8 countries.
R3's mission since inception has been to provide the highest quality biologics with the highest level of safety testing combined with the highest affordability globally.
With hundreds of success stories on R3's YouTube channel, you can see how people are achieving pain-free living, breathing, easier walking, and also getting back to their social sports and activities. That's always going to be important. So I'll say it one more time. Make sure you guys head over to r3stemcell.com and schedule your free consultation. All right, so Ray, I know you got a little bit of background with Marvelous Marvin Hagler, who's one of the great fighters, a hard-hitting dude. Tell us a little bit about your experience with him and your background with him.
Well, fighters generally don't make friends because we're individual, and most fighters are, very standoffish. It's not like team sport where you guys go on the vacation together and stuff like that. But my two best friends when I was fighting was Marvin Hagler and Larry Holmes. Now, I'm still very close with Larry Holmes, but you can figure it out. But we used to do a lot of appearances together and stuff. But I love Marvin. And when I was telling the story recently, I spoke to the college, Youngstown State University. I don't know if you remember Michael Zordich. Zordich played 12 years in the NFL, right?
Yep.
And Michael's a good friend of mine. Invited me, he's one of the coaches, invited me to come speak to the team. So Coach Doug Phillips allowed me to speak. So I was talking to the team, give them no Knute Rockne speech, hit them hard, hit them low, get up, hit them again and again, But I spoke to him and I told him the Marvin Hagler story. I said, Marvin Hagler was undefeated except early in his career. They had 2 defeats, both of them by guys from Philadelphia. Now, Philadelphia at the time had 5 middleweights, all in the top 10 in the world, all kick-ass fighters. One was Bad, and they all great nicknames. Bad Benny Briscoe, who's on the way down. Bad Benny Briscoe. Eugene Cyclone Hart, Bobby Boogaloo Watts, Willie the Worm Monroe, and David Love. So he go out there and they fought Willie the Worm. And by all accounts, he beat Willie the Worm. They give Willie the Worm the decision.
Oh.
Comes back a couple months later, fighting Bobby Boogaloo Watts. He fights Boogaloo Watts. By all accounts, won. They give Boogaloo Watts the decision. So a reporter asked him, he said, Marvin, why do you keep coming back to Philadelphia when they keep taking the fights away from you? By all accounts, you won these fights, but you keep coming back here. He said, because I think I'm the best. He said, the only way I'm proving the best, I got to go in their backyard and kick their ass. He said, if they come in my backyard and I kick their ass, it won't mean nothing. I got to go in their backyard and kick their ass in front of their people and to show them I am the best. So what happens? They have a rematch. He goes back, fights Willie the Worm, knocks him out in 3 rounds. Fights Bobby Boogaloo, knocks him out in 5 rounds. Comes back a third time, knocks out Willie the Worm in 1 round. Knocks out Bobby Boogaloo in 2 rounds.
Ooh.
He proved it. And I told the team, I said, this is why he was as great as he was. At the end of his career, he said he has a mantra, destruct and destroy. And that was his mantra, right? And I said, that's who Marvin Hagler is. So I told the team, so when you play these teams and you go and playing in their home state, in their backyard, you got to kick their ass in their backyard.
Yes.
They come to our stadium, you beat them. Well, good. But you should beat them because you got the support. You got to go in their back, kick their ass in their backyard, like Marvin Hagler. And I said, because his mantra is destruct and destroy. You got to have that mentality to win to win the championship. And they were ready. They lloved that stuff.
Oh, that's a good story.
But I loved Marvin Hagler, and that's a true story. And Marvin was, and I just loved him, man. And it was crazy because I didn't know this. I did not know this. Marvin's calling my training camp, talking to my guy, what's Ray doing? How many miles is he doing? How many rounds is he going? and the guys told me, Marvin's calling to know one. I said, Marvin wants to know what I'm doing. I had a reporter say to me, yeah, he said, yeah, I heard Marvin call, the reporter once to me says, I heard Marvin's calling you, you can't find it. He goes, you and Marvin are recognized as the two hardest working champions. I said, no, I didn't know that. I said, second of all, I don't understand. He said, what do you mean? I said, I could understand me. Why him? He's great already. He's great already. Why is it? I have to understand why I have to outwork my opponents. I have to outwork guys. He's great already. And they go, well, because that's what I loved him, man. He was always watching him. You watch him, he was the same from first round to 15th round, man. He just on autopilot. Boom. He never got tired. And so, but the fact that he was calling my training, wanting to know how I'm running rounds. I'm running, what's Ray doing?
That's a big sign of respect to you.
And I loved him dearly. And I say this without getting emotional, man. The night I lost my title in Buffalo, Marvin was there. And when all the hoopla going on afterwards, it was, Marvin went and grabbed my parents. And he said, come with me. And he took everybody, moved them out of the way. And he moved out, and so they can get up to see me. And that was Marvin. Ray, he was that guy. He was that guy.
What did having that kind of respect as a great fighter you were, and having somebody who you saw as one of your contemporaries?
But he was one of my heroes too. It meant Jay, it means everything because, I tell these people, and I say this all the time, and I don't mean this in any false modesty by any means. I was a good fighter. I don't consider myself a great fighter by no means. I was a good fighter who had great moments, had great fights. But the reason I say that, no false modesty, because greatness is acquired over longevity. Yeah. Longevity is what you say. I fought 5, you played 6 years, I played 5.5, I fought 5.5. My whole career was 5.5 years. I don't consider myself a great fighter because 5.5 years doesn't dictate that.
Yeah.
Like I said, great fights, great moments. Marvin was a great fighter. Larry Holmes was a great fighter. Yeah. Ray Leonard, Duran, those were great because they had longevity.
Yeah.
They went down the beginning, the end. I had a good career. I had a great, like I said, here's the best way to explain. Guy said to me once, he said, you and Ray Leonard, because he said, were the two biggest attractions on television. I said, yeah, I've heard that. I said, I don't get, he said, well, how do you explain it? I go, here's how I explain it. I said, Marlon Brando was considered the greatest actor of his generation. James Dean was a contemporary. James Dean did 3 films. 3 films. They're still all time. And he's still considered one of the greatest actors of all time. But Marlon Brando is considered, he changed his generation.
Yeah.
But at the end, he did a lot of crap too. I said, that's me. I said, that's me and Ray Leonard. Ray Leonard was Marlon Brando. I'm James Dean.
Right.
I thought Ray Leonard was great, but he had a lot at the end. But I did, I had a short career, so he's Marlon Brando. I'm James Dean.
That's awesome.
But that's how I explain it. Who knows? Look, who knows what the public want? You just want to go out and give the public. One thing I think I did understand that a lot of fighters don't. You have an obligation to the fans to give them what they want. Fans turn on. You got an obligation to go out and put on a show.
Yes.
That's an obligation, man. And people like a guy like Bud Crawford, who I love as a fighter, as a person too, he's a good dude, is I'm not going to worry about the fans. I'm going to worry about, that doesn't always sit well.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it doesn't always sit well, But he's great. So how could you knock it? It works for him. I just think fighters have an obligation to give the best show possible.
That's such a good POV. Just your humility, I think, is equally, if not important, or just as more impressive than your championship. With much respect.
That means a lot to me, sure. Thank you so much. Very kind.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
One last thing, Ray. I know you have a big production going on, the biopic titled Boom, which I believe is about the life and fight with the South Korean fighter Duk Koo Kim in that famed match, in that fight with you. I'd love to discuss more the redemptive part of that, and you coming out to meet their family, and it speaks to you doing the right thing.
Well, let me say that the production you're talking about is not been really truly announced yet, but it's in the works.
Okay.
And it's hopefully later this year. That's the plan. But when we did the documentary based on when I did the book, The Good Son, they did the documentary, Good Son, and a big portion of that was, look, I understand. Mark Kriegel told me. Mark Kriegel, the writer, wonderful writer, said to me, Ray, he said, if it wasn't for the kid, I wouldn't be doing your story. I get it. I understand. You don't have to talk to me, explain to me. He said, but that was the hook. But what he meant, and that's why when we did the book, he went to Seoul, Korea to speak with Duk Koo Kim's son, Ji-won, and his fiance at the time, who was the mother of Ji-won, young Mi. And they didn't want to speak to him at first, but finally they spoke to him. And Ji-won was very, very open that he had a lot of animosity towards me because he felt that he didn't know me, but all he heard about the fight, and I took his father away from him. And I understood. So when they said to me, so Mark said, "Look, would you be interested in meeting Ji-won?" I said, absolutely. I thought it was important. I felt it was important for Ji-won to meet me and young me, his wife or fiance at the time, to meet me, the last man that was in the ring with him. I said, I think for me, it was important. I think it would be important for them, closure for them, some type of closure of some sort. I never blame myself but how can you not, when you're part of it? Man died at my hands, though that was not my intent, obviously.
No, of course not.
I never blame myself but you have to take some responsibility. Can't say, well, I have nothing to do with it. You got a lot, So I did. So that's why I felt it was important to meet Ji-won. And so when we talked about it, and so the day we're filming, they fly in LA, they were filming it. We're filming at my house. And my son there, both my boys, my daughter, and they interviewed me. They said, okay, he's 10 minutes away. Okay. Then finally they say he's 5 minutes away. And we got 3 cameras and they're all set up. And finally I said to the director, I said, look, man, you got to get this the first shot. I can't do this again. I can't do this. You got one shot to get this.
Yeah.
Better get it right. And
got chills, man.
And so the car pulls up and the young man pulls out, and that's what you see. I walked out. I don't know how to say to him, and I was, stammering, stuttering, I think, and just gave him a hug, but that's it. That was the one shot, and they did it. So I think so it was important. And then later when we had dinner, and he says to me in the dinner, if you watch the documentary, he said, I had a lot of animosity towards you. He said, I blamed you. He said, but after seeing the fight, and after watching the fight, and then the meeting, talking to people, and now meeting you, he said, I don't blame you at all. It's just something that happened. So it was a great relief to me that they felt that way, but it was also, I think, a great relief for them to meet me and understand the type of person I am, who I am. And, I just told you, your father's a hero. Your father, I said, especially, he's a hero. He said, and I said, he died doing what he loved. He died being a hero. Yeah. And so, and I know he's very well revered in Seoul and South Korea. But they say so people told me, but so are you. They go, yeah. People are, I've been to Korea twice. I've been to Seoul twice. And they have nothing but love for me. They treat me wonderfully. And I have nothing but love for them. The Korean people are wonderful. So I'd love to visit it again. And so if this movie happens, which I think really, I'm trying to believe it's going to, then I'll be visiting there again.
That's
awesome, man. What a story.
Yeah,
well,
wow.
I think what's amazing about that, Ray, is in a day and age right now where so many people don't have conversations that are hard. They just lob grenades at each other. There's so much animosity. There's so much hate in this world.
Yeah.
And you take a situation like yours where no one would even blame you if you didn't ever want to talk with them. But look at how much healing and how much you like, what a beautiful story.
No, it's funny because we're talking about going over there. And again, I've been there twice. Like I said, they made a movie about Kim called Champion.
Okay.
Korean version. And what reason let me go back for a second. This movie, boom, how it came about is this young director, Korean director, David Boo, got in touch with me. And I didn't know nothing about David. He said, Mr. Mancini, my name is David Boo. I grew up in Korea. I remember your fight with Duk Koo Kim. He says, I very much, he's a hero over there, as you are. He says, I want to do a movie about your fight. He said, and I'd like to have you part of it. I said, David, in all respect, you seem like a lovely guy, but I don't want to revisit that. It's something I put to rest a while ago. And I'll never forget, Dave said, no, Mr. Mancini, I don't think you understand. He said, Mr. Mancini, I respect you very much. I respect your wish. He said, but I'm making this movie. With or without you, I'm making this movie. I said, oh, he said, I'd like to have it. I said, oh, then maybe we should talk. Because he wasn't asking for permission to make it. He was telling me he's going to make it. So I got to know him. And just what a lovely, lovely man he is. Wonderful vision. And him and my son have gotten to be good friends with my son who's an actor. He said, this guy's the next big thing. He said, Pop, this guy's the next big thing. You're going to hear a lot about him. And I truly, when you talk to David, his vision, you could see, oh yeah, he's on top. So we got something there. But I'm not trying to exploit that. It's just, David feels it has to be told. But the reason I consented to it, because he said, I want it to come from the Korean point of view. Because the Asian mentality is different than the American mentality, obviously.
Sure. No, 100%.
And he said, and so I want people to understand his mindset. And it originally was going to be just that week at a fight, a couple of days before, but they've kind of expanded a little bit more. But I like where the script is. I really like the script a lot. It's going to go back to a little bit about his upbringing, my upbringing, and then eventually that fight. Again, people might look at it as an exploitation of it. I think but David seems like, no, it's a celebration. He said, of that moment, of that fight. He said, and it's going to be told, I'm going to tell it the right way. So he sold me on that. Awesome. And that's why I gave into it. So who knows? I mean, in another year and a half, hopefully that will be out at the theaters.
That's perfect.
Man,
that's
I hope that happens. That's beautiful.
And some of the names are talking about playing me, it's like, it's pretty incredible. I hear some of these names.
That's cool.
So it's pretty cool.
Oh, now I got to know some of these names.
Well, I can't say.
We'll have you back. We'll have you back to talk about it.
They don't know if they've approached these actors yet. Yeah. But I'll be back. Yeah.
Okay, that's
wow,
perfect.
That's so exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Also, I don't think it's exploitive at all. I think it's documenting history. I think it's just it's something that was a unique moment in history that I think needs to be talked about, needs to be told, and it kind of honors everybody involved. So I think it's pretty cool.
Thank you, Jay. I appreciate that. Thank you.
So to you, over the last 40 years, what would you say have been the big changes in boxing?
Well, first of all, the biggest change is going from 15 to 12.
Yeah.
And that stemmed from your fight.
Yeah.
Right?
They say, no, that's what they say.
Okay.
But my fight with Kim was in 1982. They changed, the last 15-round fight was 1988. I mean, 1987. Okay. 87. That's a long time to wait to change.
Yeah.
Right.
That was a TV decision, not a medical decision.
Okay.
TV said, "Oh, we got more chance for commercials. We could do an interview beforehand. We could do a post-fight interview. We could do, that was it." And I got guys from television telling me that. First, I'm going to give you a statistic. This is fact. From 1900 to 1988. From 1988 to now, there's been more fatalities and major injuries in boxing than from 1900 to 1988, the last 15-round fight.
Oh.
Why is that?
Because, well, first of all, cutting the rings on it doesn't make it safer, by no means. Okay. If a guy can fight, he can fight. Because now you got guys, the reason why, because now these guys figure out, I don't have to go 15. So the fighters aren't, there's many good trainers. And the fighters are still good fighters, but they're not training like they're training for 15. They're training like they're training for 12 or for 10. It's like you said, Jay, it's like guys saying, I'm going to train for three quarters, not 4. So you're going to get hurt. You go in the fourth quarter, so your body's going to break down if you're not used to training that for that.
So their bodies just aren't tempered. So
they're not ready for 15.
You see this in the NFL right now, and I try to explain this to younger guys. I was fortunate to play 6-7 seasons pro, and I tell guys, man, when they got rid of consecutive days of 2-a-days, then they got rid of 2-a-days altogether. They got rid of padded practices, and now you're seeing all these injuries. Guys are not preparing their bodies for war.
Yes,
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, man. All I'm saying is that it's. So when they said, but to answer your question, Jordan, you were right. They say that started, but in retrospect, it was a TV decision. I've talked to television. They told us, of course, it's better for us. The other worst thing they did was weigh-ins the morning, night before instead of the morning of. Why you got guys going in, killing themselves to make weight the night before? There's guys that are fighting at one weight class, then they're going up 2 weight classes. They weigh in the morning of 2 weight because they gorge.
Yeah.
They gorge.
They eat all this food that night.
That's right. Look, this is fact. I used to wait at 8 in the morning. Even though when I was fighting on CBS, we fought at 5 in the afternoon. So I'd have to get up, weigh in, go have my breakfast, and then have my big meal about 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And because I wanted to go in the ring feeling hungry, though I wasn't, I wanted to feel hungry.
Yes.
But even if you're fighting at night, then I have my big meal at 2 in the afternoon.
Okay.
So, but the fact that these guys now are gorging the night before, they're not doing it. So they go in 10, 15, about 20 pounds overweight. And so if a guy only goes up 3 or 4 pounds, which is natural, 4 or 5 pounds at the most, and you got a guy who went up 20 pounds, how does that work?
The whole weight thing is nuts.
That's a TV decision again.
Yeah.
Because you know why? Because they used to do it through Mike Tyson, right? The night before he'd weigh in, because he's a heavyweight, he didn't have to make weight. But they showed on ESPN. And it became a big crowd pleaser, big ratings giver to watch guys weigh in the night before. So finally ESPN said, we're going to do this with every weight class. And what happened was, because there was a lot of guys who would come in the morning of and they couldn't make weight. They'd give them a couple hours to make weight, or 3 or 4 hours or whatever. By the last time they get a chance to make weight and they couldn't make it, they were still over, it had to be a non-title fight. Okay. They'd say, well, we'll still go through the fight. But now, ladies and gentlemen, the networks come on and say, ladies and gentlemen, we advertise a world title fight, but so-and-so couldn't make weight, so it's a non-title fight. The networks were getting threatened with lawsuits by the people who,
the advertisers.
The advertisers, thank you. They go, so TV said, hey, we're weighing the night before. If he can't make weight the night before, he'll make it by the morning up, but he will make weight. So that's why it changed. Again, TV decision. TV dictates everything.
Well, money dictates everything.
Well, was this TV?
Yeah, which is TV.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something. Because let me tell you something. When, I fought a couple times when my opponent fell out. TV would give us the network. CBS was my network. They give us 5 replacements. 5. These were guys were contenders. Had to be one of these 5. You couldn't pick who you wanted. Had to be one of these 5. That's who they'd accept. You could say, well, I'm going to fight.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they give you 5 names. You accept one of them, or the fight's off. What? And so, or in the more the words of Mort Sharnick, who I loved dearly at that time, he said, either you pick one of these names, or we'll be showing the movie Heidi. Yeah, never, they didn't care. Never. So that's why. But now, guys, the replacement, there's no replacement. They're going to say, well, we'll fight anyway. But if he wins the title, if he wins the fight, he can't get the title. And if the champion holds on to it, it's still a title. I mean, it makes no sense.
Yeah. It seems sad, though, because in a time where people are loving martial, the UFC could not be bigger than it is.
Yes.
And that people would gravitate toward boxing.
Absolutely.
It's too confusing.
What is
just to the the person who just wants to watch? It's like, wait, why are there so many? What are all these belts and what's all this?
That's right.
Who's the real champ?
Who's the real champ?
That's right.
And when you have that much confusion and you can't go, this is the one.
That's right.
It's hard for fans.
You're absolutely right.
Unless you're hardcore. You got a Jay
right.
who's like, I'm diehard boxing.
But
he's going to watch no matter what.
No, you're absolutely right. It is confusing. And who's got what belt? Look, I'm a fight fan. I'm a fight lover, and I can't tell you what fighters are champions in what division. I know the names, but there's the other thing. I know the names, but I couldn't tell you the faces.
Yeah.
Because they're not on network television anymore.
Yeah.
They're on streaming services or pay-per-view. They put up a fight. Now they're trying to be pay-per-view for everything. Wait, first of all, like the PBC, Al Heyman's company, made a deal with the streamer Prime.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got Prime, you're supposed to get the fights. They try to bang you for pay-per-view pay extra for the title. That's the whole idea.
That's not the deal.
No, that's not the deal. Why do you go to a streamer?
Yeah.
Which is why I like this. That's why I like Turkey in the sense that he's trying to make it more streamlined. And Dana, I admire Dana because look, what Dana did with the UFC, they're kicking boxing's ass on a regular basis.
Well, look what he's doing with the Paramount
deal. On a regular basis.
Starting next month, it's on Paramount. If you have Paramount, you're watching
Stephen.
every single UFC
Paramount
thing.
Plus.
That's a great point, Stephen.
It's so smart.
It is, but they're kicking boxing butt on a regular basis because he grew up. But I admire what he did. I really do admire what Dana's done, and but boxing still fighters get paid better, and we know that for a reason. But what I like what Dana's done. they should do in boxing. And I've said this a long time ago. If that fight, Canelo was guaranteed almost 100 million, guaranteed 100, and Bub was guaranteed 10. Now there's performance clause, X amount of buys, whatever, right? Which they did but made a lot more. But Canelo looked so disinterested. He looked so disinterested.
You think he wasn't hungry?
Exactly. Well, first of all, if you watch before the fight, they're showing him riding his horses. Riding horses in the morning, right? You know what I said to my guy? I said, next man, go, is that before or after he does road work?
Yeah.
Is that before or after he did road? Because they're showing him while he's training, he's riding his horses. Where's the hunger, man?
Yeah.
So, and he fought like it. He fought like, you know what he fought like?
100 million takes that hunger right out of you.
Oh, he fought like, he fought like, look, he didn't initiate anything. He wasn't going to press anything. He just fought like happy to be here.
Yeah.
But he was got to get it. So that's what I'm saying. I said, and this is what Dana did, and this is what I think they should go back. And I suggested several times to promoters. DK, Don King's a good friend of mine. I've said it to Bob Arum's friend. They laugh at me. I said, okay, Dana's doing it. They do it in UFC, and they should do it in boxing. We're fighting, major fight, world title. You're guaranteed 2.5. I'm guaranteed 2.5. But the winner gets another 10 million.
Or you got to up the purse. You got to make it,
But what I'm saying is the winner gets the big prize.
Exactly.
You're going to see some guys fighting their ass
They'll
off.
be hungry, yeah.
That's right. So what I'm saying is you guaranteed, which you put the guarantee because you got to go to what the market calls for. But the winner gets X amount more.
Yeah, I like that.
Hey, Ray, you just brought up Don King and you know Bob pretty well too. So I got to ask you because a lot of people say promoters ruined the sport of boxing and that's why UFC came in and took over. Did promoters ruin boxing?
No. And I'll tell you right now.
Okay.
Don King, people say, but Don King was great for boxing. And Don King was no different than any other promoter. Here's the difference. Don King tells you. And here's the guy said, what's the difference between Don King and Bob Arum? And they were their contemporaries. And when I was fighting, they were really, and them and the Doofus were really promoters.
Yep.
But a friend of mine said, let me answer it. He was an ex-fighter. He said, I'll tell you the difference. Bob Arum tells you, sign the contract, but I'm going to screw you. But sign the contract. But you go, well, what? You go, wait a minute. I mean, he said, sign the contract. So you send it, and you go, well, Bob, what about this? Bob said, well, did you look in article, page 3, article G, number 24, article G? Whatever.
Yep.
They said, Don tells you, look, I'm going to screw you, but sign the contract, but I'm going to screw you.
Yeah.
Okay, you signed it, at least he tells you. And that was like the running joke. But be honest with you, no. Bob's going to give you everything. Bob Arum, I fought for Bob. Bob will fight you on everything he says, but he's going to give you everything he says he's going to give you. He'll fight you on things. He fought. Don, DK is great. I love DK. He's good for the sport. He's a good friend of mine. He's good for the sport. He made events bigger than they were. Did he take from fighters that normally, did he dip into the Kufr? Yeah, probably. But here's what he did. These guys are making more money. Well, here's what a lot of people don't know. They said he took from so-and-so, he took from so-and-so. But this I know for a fact. Guys were coming up to him and say, hey, Don, man, I want me a new car. How much that car? Man, that's $60,000. Bang, bang, bang. But Don, man, I want to get me a new home. How much that house? That's $250,000. Bang, 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 bang. Okay. Well, Don, I want to give me some new threads, man. I gotta look good. How much you? I'm gonna cost me about $1,000. Boom. Make a long story short. He'd wait. He'd say, there's a loan. Now they'd make the purse. Finally, they make a score. They say 100,000. He'd take that. They take it back. He does shit. And that's exactly what happened with Tim Witherspoon.
What?
Tim Witherspoon made 100,000 when he fought in UK. I think he fought Frank Bruno. He made 100,000. His purse came with 90,000. And now made $1 million. He got 90,000 out of that.
Out of $1 million?
But Don went that, but Don was floating the money for years. And I'm saying these guys don't get it. They think it's a gift. It's a loan, man.
So Don was keeping a running tab the whole time.
Come on, man. You got to be smart to understand that. Guy ain't
like
going to give you. That's the deal. If you want, he was a good guy. He ain't that good.
Yeah.
They're not going to keep giving you money.
Right.
Oh, man. So you got to be smart. That's what I'm saying. I blame fighters for being stupid. I blame fighters for not knowing to learn. I tell fighters, learn your business. Learn about the business. Learn, man. Learn financing. Talk with a CPA. Learn, man. They don't get it. And then these guys, oh man, I own back taxes because you ain't paid for 5 years. Because these guys ain't putting away for tax, setting this money aside for taxes.
Right.
So anyhow, that's why Don. I'm not saying that Don did a lot of what they said, but he gets a bad rap for doing more than they did.
No, I see what you're saying. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So moving forward, okay, so we've gone back, and now let's go to the current state of boxing and where it's headed, because it's kind of getting weird.
Yeah,
we have upcoming a big streamer fight, Jake Paul, who is a YouTuber, versus a legitimate heavyweight in Anthony Joshua out of the UK. What are your thoughts on this kind of a spectacle? And then who do you think's actually going to win if it's a legit fight?
Jay, please don't do that. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Don't do that. See,
who's going to win? I love it. Jay's trying to set you up with something.
I want me to get on a real roll?
Yeah, let's hear it.
First of all, let me just say this. Jake Paul, another Ohio boy, Cleveland boy.
Yep.
Jake Paul, I admire what he's done. You got to admire it.
Yeah, you do.
Jake Paul can't fight a lick. Not a lick.
Not a lick?
Not a lick. Not a lick. He wouldn't win a national. He wouldn't win a national amateur tournament. He would not win a national. But here's what I'm saying. But I admire him. He trains like. Here's what I tell people. He trains like a real fighter. He does. He trains like. You got to admire that. He's got real fighters in his corner. He's got real guy in his corner, trainer in his corner. His hype guys are real fighters.
Yeah.
He just can't fight. Yeah. He just can't. And that's no knock. Hey, Jay, you see some guys go on the field, gun all just can't play.
You know who can really play and who can't.
So here's the thing that kills me. I think it's finally coming out. Jake Paul calling out the YouTuber, calling out Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson would have buried this kid if it was if it wasn't on the okie doke. Mike Tyson went in there looking like he was on. He walked in there biting the glove. He never did that. Never.
He never did that. I never seen Mike do that until he fought Jake, because he knew
he's walking.
He saw four different openings to take Jake out. He didn't take them.
They said, "Oh, he couldn't." Biting to sort of like.
And people are saying, "Well, he could hit Jake. He could hit Jake." I said, "Well, he couldn't pull the trigger. Mike's timing was off. He hadn't been. First of all, he's 57.
Yeah, I was gonna say, 57. Come on, he's old.
Second of all, the guy, but Jake Paul couldn't hit him either. Mike still could get out of the way. So Jake Paul couldn't hit him. He didn't hit him flush.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Nowhere in any sport with football would they let a 54-year-old come back and play. Right?
No, so Mike was old, but I could still, Mike, he could see the opening, but it was like it was in his contract. He couldn't pull the trigger.
No,
yeah. He would have cracked that kid's jaw.
Jay, if he'd have hit him, he'd have broken him in half. People say, Jake Paul couldn't hit Mike either. Jake Paul's jumping back. But here's what I'm saying. That just goes to show you that I think Jake Paul exposed himself on this. He comes out. He's going to fight Tank Davis. Davis, I know the brother. He's a good dude.
Javante Davis.
5'4",
he's
about
tiny.
40. To build it, Tank Davis gets jammed up on a domestic violence thing, right?
Yeah, DV.
So what's he do? So Anthony Joshua stops up. Now he's fighting a guy 6'5", 240. How do you go from a guy 140
Steven, Anthony Joshua is my size.
I know. So
how do you justify it? How can you? That's what I'm talking. It's a circus. Do you understand?
That's what I was going to say. So is that going to be the same situation with Joshua? Because is Joshua not going to be let?
I would hope.
Because if he can let go,
I would hope Joshua would have a little more integrity.
Jake is over.
He
over.
He will knock him dead.
Yeah,
dead.
He would kill him
again. But it's the problem. Is it going to be on a? It's all on the okie doke. It's all on the okie doke. Trust me. I don't know what they're paying them.
They got that Youngstown mob involved, don't they? Boom, boom.
Let me tell you something. I wish I would. God.
All right, folks. Well, we want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with us a little bit and just sharing some time and space. We got to thank our man, our Y-Town 330 boy, Ray Boom Boom Mancini, man. We thank you so much for being here, man. We thank you so much for
that. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you.
Hey, Jay, send my best to Maurice.
Hey, I definitely will send my best to Maurice. He, by the way, said you are an absolute legend back home. No. Talks a lot about
in my
you.
Own mind, but thank you.
No. He was texting me during the show going, man, that's awesome that you got him on. That dude is a freaking legend. And he talked about the mob ties too. That was all very, very funny. We know what's going on there. But as we always do, folks, We will see you guys very soon. This is the Vino Vinyl Vici podcast. Yeah. I'm Jay Richardson. You got Shota Ike. Then you got the other legend right there, Stephen Bailey. If you're ever in Nashville, check him out. You're on the West Coast, you check out Shota. And if you're in the Buckeye State, you're going to see myself. You're going to see my man Boom Boom right here. We want to see you guys very soon. Continue to like, continue to subscribe, and check us out. This is going to be a very fun podcast. We're taking this to a whole new level. As you can already see, we've got some of the best guests, and we're featuring some of the best drink you could have. So make sure you guys stick around. The next one's going to be even better if we can top this one. See you soon.
Vino Vinyl Vici is brought to you by 3 Strand Sports and Entertainment and is produced, recorded, and edited by Trevor Delling with Local Light Marketing Solutions. Thank you to our guest, our sponsors, and to 411 Music Group and artist Simon for our theme music. As always, please subscribe to the podcast and visit us at vvvpodcast.com to stay in touch.